Finland has ranked as the happiest country on Earth for 8 years straight. Yet on a Helsinki bus, silence fills the space and seats beside strangers remain empty. So how can the world's happiest country feel so distant? And what does its silence reveal about the hidden cost of happiness? This is not clickbait. Finland truly held the top position in the World Happiness Report for 8 consecutive years. Its average score is 7.7 out of 10, placing it above Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, and every other country on the list. Experts often point to access to nature, a strong welfare system, and low corruption. Almost 90% of Finns also visit a sauna every single week. On paper, Finland sounds like a utopia filled with security, comfort, and dependable public services. Visitors often arrive expecting smiling strangers, lively conversations, and warm public spaces. Instead, they discover a society that functions beautifully without constant warmth or chatter. Step onto a tram in Helsinki, and the silence becomes noticeable immediately. When another seat is available, people usually avoid sitting beside a stranger. At bus stops, commuters often stand surprisingly far apart from one another. First-time visitors may even check whether the service has been canceled. The distance is not defensive, hostile, or deliberately rude. It is habitual respect, expressed through silence and measured in meters. That is the first clue that Finnish happiness is measured differently from what the headlines suggest. The World Happiness Report uses a very specific method to create its rankings. It is produced by researchers from the University of Oxford in partnership with Gallup and the United Nations. People around the world are asked to rate their own lives on a scale from 0 to 10. The final rankings are based on a 3-year average of those answers. Nobody is judging how often people smile at bus stops or laugh in public squares. The report examines trust, safety, reliable services, equality, and access to nature. It measures whether people believe that their society works for them. In Finland, happiness is less about public cheerfulness and more about feeling secure within the society around you. One experiment connected to the report deliberately lost wallets around the world. Researchers wanted to see how many of those wallets would eventually be returned. The return rate was almost twice as high as people had predicted. Belief in the kindness of others was more closely connected to happiness than many expected. That is what Finnish happiness can look like in everyday life. It is not about feeling cheerful every morning. It is about trusting that a wallet dropped on a tram will probably come back to you. The report also found that sharing meals with other people is strongly connected to well-being. Households of 4 or 5 people show the highest happiness levels in Europe and Mexico. Finland performs extremely well when trust and public safety are measured. But the culture that strengthens trust can also reduce daily face-to-face contact. Finland is one of the least densely populated countries in Europe. Forests cover roughly 3/4 of the country. Historically, many communities developed far away from one another. Constant social interaction was never a normal part of daily life. Privacy became a practical necessity rather than a luxury. The climate strengthened these habits even further. In southern Finland, midwinter daylight can shrink to only a few hours. In the north, the sun may not rise for several weeks. Those conditions historically demanded preparation, endurance, and self-sufficiency. Emotional drama offered little practical value during difficult conditions. Restraint, patience, and planning became deeply useful qualities. Centuries of Lutheran influence also encouraged modesty, humility, and discipline. Self-promotion attracted disapproval, while hard work earned quiet respect. Finland is largely secular today, but these patterns still appear in Finnish workplaces. Memories of the Winter War and Continuation War also strengthen the value of collective endurance. The Finnish idea of Sisu describes inner strength, persistence, and courage without theatrics. When institutions work and promises are kept, fake smiles are not required to create safety. That trust also appears in the mochi and the classroom, where solitude restores energy and silence supports concentration. This is where the story changes, because something beneath Finland's quiet system is causing growing concern. Statistics Finland found that 29.7% of people aged 16 or older felt lonely in 2022. In 2018, the figure had been 21.2%. Loneliness increased in every age group during those 4 years. A Finnish Red Cross loneliness barometer in 2026 revealed an even broader problem. 65% of the population said they experienced loneliness at least sometimes. That was an increase from 59% the previous year. 1 in 5 people said they felt lonely at least once every week. Financial insecurity is making social isolation even harder to escape. People aged 25 to 34 who had left their childhood homes were the most likely to skip social events because they could not afford them. The figures involving young people are especially alarming. 59% of 16 to 24-year-olds experience loneliness regularly. In the survey, regularly meant a few times each month or more. Nearly 1/3 of that age group experiences loneliness every week. 1 in 3 said loneliness had caused them mental health problems. Across all ages, more than 1 in 10 respondents had no close friend with whom they could discuss personal matters. The shame connected to loneliness is declining across Finland overall. But young people continue to carry the heaviest burden. They are also among the least likely to reach out for support. Living alone has become increasingly common across the country. In 2020, approximately 1.25 million people in Finland lived alone. That represented almost 23% of the total population. Nearly 1 in 4 Finnish households consisted of only one person. These numbers do not erase Finland's success, but they show how easily protected solitude can turn into painful isolation. Finland's strong happiness ranking and its loneliness problem have always existed side by side. They are not necessarily contradictions. The happiness is real and is rooted in qualities that many other societies struggle to build. The society works reliably. Public institutions are widely trusted. Neighbors often help during genuine crises without drawing attention to themselves. Silence and personal space are not failures within the Finnish system. They are cultural features that evolved through centuries of sparse settlement and harsh conditions. Finns may not need constant small talk because they possess trust that works in practical situations. But silence works best when strong welfare, reliable institutions, and secure places of retreat are available. It can become a trap for someone who is young, financially insecure, or socially anxious in a digital age. The same norms that created national stability can make asking for help feel like personal failure. When self-sufficiency is deeply valued, admitting loneliness may feel like admitting weakness. Young Finns experience some of the deepest shame around loneliness. That shame makes reaching out for support more difficult. Their culture has taught them to endure hardship quietly and handle difficulties alone. The system solves survival so effectively that some people have been left isolated inside it. That is the double-edged nature of Finnish silence. The lesson is not that Finland has failed. Every system can solve one problem while unintentionally creating another. Before comparing countries through happiness rankings, examine what the number is actually measuring. A ranking may reflect trust in institutions rather than warmth between strangers. Cultural habits that appear strange from outside usually develop to solve a genuine problem. Finnish silence grew from sparse population, difficult climates, and the practical demands of survival. Respect the original logic before judging the modern result. The loneliness experienced by young Finns shows that even stable societies must adapt to financial pressure and digital isolation. The traditions that created quiet resilience must now make room for people who are struggling quietly. Share your culture's hidden contradiction and follow for more stories like this.